Choose your character.
Round one.
All right.
Fight.
Welcome back to the Geek Set Podcast, the only podcast that blend hip hop culture and geek culture together. I'm your boy Deuces, and this is One-on-One with Deuces, the place where I speak with creators, curators, and people that you should know. And I told y'all this season, I'm only talking to legends. And right now, man, we got one of the legends, man. We got somebody who a lot of us grew up with, a lot of us still growing up on his work, and just a man of culture in many facets. But I'm speaking with the one and only Kadeem Hardison. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, bro. What's going on, Deuces?
Man, just making things happen, man. Trying to have these compelling conversations with people, man. It's just really, really geek out, man. So before we jump into all of that, we make sure that we give our flowers to our legends, man, and people that while we're still here. And I know you hear it all the time because, especially you guys just had the rewatch on Twitter Spaces with A Different World. Mm-hmm. But it's just like, bro, like you have so much stuff that gave to the culture. And it's funny because in this season of my interviews that I'm doing, where I say I'm only speaking to legends, I generally ask my Patreon people, I'm like, hell, any questions you guys want to ask them, throw it into Patreon. And just like clockwork, everybody, all they keep on saying is just make sure you thank Kadeem for everything that he gave us. Let him know that as the culture, we appreciate him and, we love all his work. And so just from the culture to you, man, hearing it from my mouth, I just want to let you know, man, again, truly, truly appreciate all your work and everything that you contributed to Black culture, cinematic culture, TV culture, everything, man. Thank you for all that, man.
I appreciate you. I can't hear it enough, yo. It's really wild to think 30 something years later, the show we did is still relevant, and still catching eyes and still inspiring people. It's that was not the plan. I was trying to get to work on time and keep my job and do good work and look what it turned into. It's amazing. It blows my mind.
Well, and I think it's because, like, when you think about today and all the celebration that we do now, we're really trying to celebrate Black cinema. We're really trying to celebrate, Black women directors, Black men directors, Black writers. And we're really appreciating the people behind the scene, but we're really appreciating the representation that we've seen on TV. And knowing that, now we're getting more chances now, it gives us that opportunity to reflect back on the past and see like where we came from. And I think that Black television at that time, it was so dope because a lot of the shows there was, even though like, we come from our struggles that we have, the focus was on Black excellence. You have, shows focusing on HBCUs. You have shows where they show Black love and they show the ups and downs, and they show what you go through, but it gives you an idea of what Black love is supposed to look like. It wasn't the trauma. Like I felt like there was a point where we were focused on trauma in our media, but at that time when you guys were rocking, and then you had Fresh Prince and you had Martin and you had the Wayans brothers and you had Family Matters and all these shows, it was just like, yeah, they're dealing with issues, but you see the Black family together, you see Black love, you see, and I think that it wasn't focused on the struggles, it was just focused on living and showcasing that. And I think that that's why it still resonates, because we're like, yo, we see that.
Yeah. And we don't have it today. There's an imbalance. We're fighting for it, but it's not as prevalent and as rampant, because we were running rampant. It was all positive. Everything was positive. And love back then. So now, we're trying to fight for more of that. To get some more of that on. Absolutely.
Yeah. So speaking of like Black cinema today, because one of the things that I always like, now that things are taking a shift with, now we're getting more like Black people can do things that doesn't have to root in trauma. Like I love the fact that we're seeing more Black people who just do horror movies that's not race related, or sci-fi movies that, like, again, not race related. It's just Black people inside. Like, we don't have to explain why you're Black in space and you're dealing with robots. No, this is what we're dealing with right now. So we're getting stuff like that. But you got to see the shift. You got to see from where it started to kind of where it at, and then the emergence of what we call Blerd Culture now, where Black nerds are coming into space. What was that like for you to kind of see that that growth, like from your eyes, seeing from where it started to where it's at now?
It was exciting because I thought, I was that solo Black nerd. I thought, I'm playing the dude who's kind of the nerd. He's the Black nerd. And to see that, because it wasn't a thing then. There was no term for it. It was just, this is what I'm doing. And to come along and watch the evolution of it to now we have a culture, we got podcasts, we got people embracing that term and living in it. It's exciting. It's like, my dog is gonna start barking.
It's all right, man.
She's excited about it too. It's really kind of it's mind-blowing to see that we've come this far, where playing a nerd on TV and then playing a nerd on TV, and now 30 years later, that's a thing. That's a movement. That's a real space that wasn't there before. I think on Good Times, Michael kind of was a little bit of a nerd.
Because you had sprinkles of it, because we had we had him, Carlton, Urkel, like you had sprinkles of it, around.
Yeah, absolutely. So now to see it come full bloom into what it is now is like, that's incredible. I never really considered that could be a thing.
Does it? Because I know you're a creative, and now that knowing that you are a Blerd, and now that you're seeing that emergence, I know that your mind got to be racing with so many ideas that you're like, I want to do this now.
I wanted to be a superhero since I was born. Like, since my mother said, "What do you want to do?" when I was 6 years old, the first answer was, "I want to be Spider-Man." So to find a way, with all the comic creators and content that's out there, the future is seemingly bright. Like we do have the space and the opportunity to do a lot more than we did before. There's so much more content being created and so many more avenues that you can put it on that before, back in the day, there was 7 channels that you had to go to, and that was it. And if the first 3 said no, the second 3 were probably not your top choices, and they would probably say no too. You had to get on with one of the big 3 or 4 in order for it to to be a reality. But now there's so many different ways you can get that thing jump started. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. And, like I said, mad salute to your moms, because you told that story before, and you said that when you first told her, I want to be Spider-Man, then she put you in an art program. And then after a while, he was like, okay, well, what else? It didn't really captivate.
Yeah, I was so far behind them kids in art school. Like, I was at the bottom of the pack. Like, I was like, nah, I ain't never gonna win at this. These dudes are miles ahead of me. These guys and girls are miles ahead of me. I was like, how about I could be Spider-Man?
Right.
Like, you want to be? She said, you want to be Spider-Man? You want to draw Spider-Man? So I want to draw Spider-Man, because I didn't think you could be Spider. I didn't think Spider-Man was a white dude.
Yeah.
So I didn't stop that trip. I didn't think it was possible for me to be Spider-Man. So I said, draw. And she put me in Art Students League, and I went there, and I was like, this is never gonna work, yo. I'm really not competitive in this space. And then I said, all right, let's try and be Spider-Man. Then she started sending me to acting school. And that's where I really started to flourish. I was like, oh, I like this.
Yeah.
I like this. I don't know how I'm gonna find my way to being Spider-Man, but I like this space. Yeah, I like being able to make believe. Yeah. I was big on make believe.
Well, here's the thing. I bring that up because I thought about some MCU characters or DC characters that we haven't seen yet, right? So I'm thinking, all right, so we got Casper Cole, aka White Tiger, or his pops, but with Black Panther and everything, and trying to figure out, I'm thinking with Wakanda Forever, they're going to expand the universe, because if you read Black Panther comics, there's so many characters, villains, anti-heroes, and there's so many people that have not been portrayed yet. And due to the unfortunate passing of Chadwick Boseman, and kind of where T'Challa is, like as far as in the MCU, I'm thinking if they're going Wakanda Forever and they're expanding it, that Casper Cole or his pops, that is a good his pops Blackjack, that right there would be good for you. Brother Voodoo, I had up there too. And Doctor Strange, you know what I'm saying? He's diving into that multiverse. Brother Voodoo, he's a little bit older, so you got the wisdom beard already. You know what I'm saying? So we can get you in there. I'm not for sure if Cottonmouth's coming from the TV shows, but the MCU doesn't have a Cottonmouth. All right,
they sure don't.
Now, getting into DC, it's kind of hard because I'm like, well, he already was in Static. So I'm thinking pretty much any of the villains in Static. I'm thinking because, we're thinking about, if they're trying to do the live adaptation of Static, they're going to need usually the villain is more of the more seasoned one, like the main villain. So Ebon, I'm thinking like, okay, maybe that can be it. But those are the 4 or 5 characters that I thought of. I was like, I want to throw it out there and put it in the atmosphere.
I love that. I appreciate. Yeah, let's get that going. Let's get that started.
Right.
I love it. Yeah.
So speaking of Static and with the rumors around it and everything, and I know that you more so just voiced the character and not was, but has anybody like tapped in just in general, just like got your advice on it or anything, or have you heard anything?
Not a word. Not a word. And I had such a good time doing that. That was at a time where Cree is a lifelong friend, and she runs the voiceover scene.
Oh my God.
And I was like, yo, I just want to. So she introduced me to directors and the people she was working with, and let them know that I was interested. And it was a really easy transition to get into Static, to get on the Static. It wasn't like I had to jump through a whole lot of hoops. They called me up and said, "You interested? You want to do it?" I was like, "Hell yeah!"
Right.
So I remember going to the studio at Warner Brothers to do the voice for those episodes. It was always a good time. The voice actors are a whole different breed.
Oh, monster!
A whole different breed. I was nervous as hell. I was nervous like it was my first audition. Like I'd never been on stage before. You know what I mean? I was in there like, okay, how do I sit my papers? What do I do here? Do I lean in? Do I lean back? Can I move my hands? Can I keep my hands at my side? They were like, bro, you got it. Just go on and read the words. You know. And it took me a couple, probably a session or two to relax into it and really kind of have fun. But yeah. I enjoyed that. That was great. That was a great experience,
man. And that cast. I mean, like I said, I got a chance to chop it up with Phil Lamar on my podcast, and he just a big monster. You know what I'm saying? And then like you had Kevin Michael Richardson on there, like man, Morgan, like you guys had heavy hitters for that show, and so the one thing I tell people, and I was like, it's the gift and the curse. I love how the McDuffie family, what they did with protecting the IP of Static, right? So though we only got the one cartoon and we got limited comics and we got all these movies and we've been dying for the reemergence of Static. The one thing that I love, and as much as I love Spider-Man and Batman, we got so many just reboots. And you know what I'm saying? So now you're forced to pick which one you like the best and everything like that. Where with Static, we got the one that was marked as excellent. So now it's like, we don't got a whole bunch of Static, but we got this one, and then we know that the next one now, especially where we're at with technology and with the people that are in charge and people that are loving the property, I love that they kind of safeguarded it, and I'm glad that
absolutely.
I'm glad we finally did right by them to kind of so that we can move forward with it.
Yeah, Michael B is involved in that, right?
That's what is rumored. I don't know if he he confirmed it, but that's what they've been saying.
Yeah. He might just be producing, but it's good that he's it's in his head and and he wants to be involved in it because that'll bring more attention to it and get a good crew around them. So yeah, that's going to be fun.
We recently talked about this on our podcast because I was saying with Raising Dion, I got some faith in Michael B. Jordan, also in his director. But I think here's where I really, really connect with Michael B. Jordan. And one of the things that sometimes we forget about our major superstars. So Michael B. Jordan, A-list, he's top of the game right now, right? And we see him as this actor and this excellence that we do. But we forget that he's from the hood as well, right? And
Jersey.
The walk of life that some people forget about the hood, like everybody always had, like everybody who comes from the hood, they always, people think like it's always, oh, I was this big time drug dealer or this big time gangster. But in reality, most of us, and I say us because it's kind of like my path as well. Most of us, we didn't do any of that. Now it was around us, and we could have went down that path, but we didn't. But we still know the pitfalls of the hood, where we came from, the struggles and the hurdles, right? So when you have somebody like that, who has walked that middle life, where it's like I was in it, but I didn't dabble in it, but I know, and I can speak from, being in that culture, being from right there, and then having a show like Static, where when we was talking about how Static, it wasn't like Static was in the hood coming from trauma. It was Static was in this hood and he was just living in it and trying to protect it. Yes, there was things going on around him, but it wasn't all trauma. It wasn't like Static went home and there was roaches and the lights was out and the bills was that. It was Static was in the hood, and yes, there were certain people who were, maybe a little bit bad, or more bad off, or who went down the wrong path, but that's not everybody in the hood. So it's like having somebody who can speak from that perspective. Michael B. Jordan has my trust and faith because of that, and also knowing that he's a nerd as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I have complete confidence that that's going to be a monster when they finally set it up, shoot it, and put it out. I think Static's going to be big.
Yep. So when was Static your first voiceover project?
I think I did Power Rangers. No, not Power Rangers. Captain Planet.
Oh yeah, Captain Planet.
Yeah. I think I did. I don't even remember what, but I think my first voiceover gig was Captain Planet. I remember I was working with Hanna-Barbera, who did the Flintstones and all my favorite joints. And we were working on something together because I wanted to do an animated series. So they were just kind of, we were doing drawings and trying to, piece it all together. Right. And it never came to fruition. But yes, I was in good with those guys and seeing the process. And Captain Planet was the first thing that came out of it. They called me for that, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll go down there and say some words. And I didn't think I was very good. And I kind of shrunk away from it a little bit. Right. And then I was watching Creed just destroy everything. And I was like, I want to do that, but I want to be better. And next thing you know, I was on Static, and it took me a couple of sessions to kind of ease into it. And then by the time I did the Boondocks, I was all right. I was like, okay, yeah. All right. Where I show up, what time we going? Okay, I'll be there.
Right.
Yeah.
But I love that, because even with how you talked about just, getting the role on a different world, it's like it's your drive. It's your drive to want to do better. It's your drive to want to bring to that character, because you talk about also fighting for the swag, that you had, fighting, like making sure that, all right, I gotta have if I'm gonna be this geek, all right, make sure the kicks are straight, and stuff like that. And it's like, but that shows that passion, right? That shows that you're invested in it. For you also having a friend as dope as Cree, you're able to see the science in it. And so now you're like, all right, I'm not going to disrespect this craft. If I'm going to do it, I got to do it.
Got to be good. Yeah, I would work with her on auditions. I remember the Tiny Toons when she played Elmira. We were at the house just running voices over and over all night because it was Spielberg. Spielberg was redoing Looney Tunes, and she was up for the Elmer Fudd kind of spinoff character. And I was like, what? We got to get this. So yeah, we were up all night just running it. And once I heard what she was doing, I was like, you're gonna get this, yo. You sound crazy. You sound borderline insane, demonic. They would be crazy not to give you this gig. And sure enough, she got it. Yeah, that was a good celebration.
You know what I love about voice actors of her stature and just kind of everybody that I got a chance to talk to, because I also talked with Deborah Wilson. And just like, I feel like a lot of you guys, and I throw actors in there as well. I love how that, like, again, the representation, you guys are very, very specific on how that representation is going to be. Like, once you get into that character, you make sure that you know, like, you speak up for that character. And it's something that I've been seeing a lot, because you think about it like, okay, this could be just another acting gig. Like, from the outside looking in, that's how, you know, somebody will look at it. It's just another acting gig. But I love the fact that, like, when you guys get in that room, or once you guys do those table reads, or, you know, especially when you're playing a character for a while, you get into that point where you're like, okay, this character wouldn't do it this way, and you can do it this way. Or, you know, and I love how the directors do start trusting you guys on how this character would be.
Yeah, once you speak and start, you know, embodying that character, you know them as well as the writers do.
Yeah.
And in different sense, you know what I mean? Because they give you the words and then you interpret the words. So, you know, you can always kind of find an actor who can speak to a different path or a different sensibility that the character would have than a writer.
Yeah.
So it's good to collaborate like that. It's good to have writers that are open and not just married to their words and like, you got to say this, you forgot you left this. It's like, yeah, but I think this is a way he should. So this is something important that has to be identified.
Yeah.
So you and it's not even a fight really. You just speak up and they love that input. They really do. It makes their job easier. It makes it more true, more authentic, real for you. So yeah, everyone's always looking for, you know, I wouldn't say mouthy actors, but just collaborative. You know what I mean? They always want to hear, what do you think? What do you think? I think, and I've always, you know, in my whole career, I've always kind of been the guy to change up some words and just, you know, have a different take, an alternate take to what's going on. I'm always trying to find you know, just an alternate path, just a different way to say it sometimes. And luckily I've been working with people that hear it and love it and give me total freedom to keep on doing that, keep going that way. I love what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's given me a whole lot of confidence to, you know, sometimes not even know the words.
Yeah.
but know the feeling and know what I'm talking about, so that I can then, you know, move a little freer. And it shows up because people tend to they can relate to those parts.
I mean, I like how even the perspective, like when you were talking about a different world and you were talking about, of course, the iconic scene where you interrupt the wedding. But I love how you talk about it, because you're like, fam, like in reality, I probably would have got stomped out on here.
Yeah.
I love like how you was like, all right, well, let's knock it out. But like, this is what I would think I would want it to do, or like, but I just love that you had that perspective of, you know, because you know, we see it on TV and it's like, okay, that probably wouldn't happen that way. But to know that you as the actor also had that thought and it was like
same. Yeah. The one thing I hate is when I'm watching TV and I go, why you do that? Like, no, I hate that on TV. So whenever I'm faced with that in a script, I'm like, I don't know. I gotta, you know, I gotta talk to somebody about this, because I don't want to be sitting at home and people was go, no, why did he do that? Like,
right.
no, yeah. there's another way. We don't, sometimes I call it lazy. Like, no, we're being lazy. We're taking the easy way out. It might be a little harder to get to, but let's explore a different way because this is not the only way. Yeah. And to me, one of the scenes that people love about that wedding episode, aside from the actual wedding, was the night before scene, the scene where I go to her the night before. We had that conversation. And that was something that I was like, this is what I would do.
Yeah.
If I was going to do this and try and get her back, I'd have to show up the night before. And Jasmine, with her whole other perspective, that pissed her off, which was awesome. Because then you got two people wanting seemingly the same thing, but just coming at it from different angles. And, that objective. Me, I'm going there to get her. Her, she's here. Like, what? Really? You come to me now?
Right.
She said, this is some bullshit. And I thought it was awesome. I thought, yeah, this is how I would do it. I'm hopping over the fence. I'm going to throw on my back and we're going to take off down 95. And she was like, nah, I'm not trying to hear that. Yeah. And that's just perfect because that's, she knows that character. Mm-hmm. I know this character. And they might clash in this moment. Yeah. They'll get there eventually, but this is a impasse that we have to meet. So yeah, it's funny. I could tell in her face and her acting, but when we did it, she didn't speak up like on that scene. Like, right. What is this? She didn't say that. She just had her way that she was going to play it. So when boom, the door opens and she looked at me, and I was kind of like, hey. When I just was in the neighborhood some bullshit like, and she was like, really, oh my god, because I haven't watched that since we did it. Like, I did that then, and I don't usually watch them for 20 something years or so, just so I can have a easier watch. You know what I mean? If I watch it right after, I'm gonna start picking it apart and be pissed off at what I didn't do.
Yeah.
So now 20 years goes by and I can look at it and I'm skinny and I'm young and I'm trying real hard and I can appreciate it. Yeah. So seeing her reaction in that scene was surprising because I don't remember her having that emotion. Like, this is some bullshit. I don't remember that being her attitude. I just was on my mission, which was, okay, I'm going to take a shot. Like, I'm going to come here the night before and I'm going to see if maybe, if the vibe is right, we can sneak away. And it was so cool to watch it on Twitter Spaces last week for the first time for me and see, oh shit, look at she's not happy that I'm here. She's not happy to see me. Huh. And as an actor, you have to see that, recognize that, and then adjust. Yeah. And yeah, it was better than I thought. I really thought that episode was bullshit. That was not my favorite episode.
That's not your favorite. It's funny because a lot of the times, and I'm doing these interviews, I realized that a lot of fan favorite episodes is usually not the actor's favorite episode.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a whole bunch of stuff that went into those 2 weeks that you guys have no idea about, but I do, and that's kind of that affects it more than what I see in the final edit because I didn't really watch the final edit. All I know is this was hell. 2 weeks. Those 2 weeks were hell for me because I knew we were leading up to this daggone wedding interruption that I couldn't commit to. So yeah, when they said that we're gonna do the wedding, I was like, God damn, again, man. That's all everybody want to talk about.
All they want to talk about.
February and Black History Month and this love, this Valentine's month, but daggone it, I'm so tired of talking about that one. But then I was pleasantly surprised at watching it and how much I was like, nah, this wasn't bad. This really wasn't bad. And thank God for Baby Please, because that saved it, because I had started drowning. And I was like, oh shit. This is going to be bad. And all of a sudden it went from bad. It went from this is going to be bad to absolutely incredible.
Yeah. And so,
mistakes are your friends.
Yeah. And I think because also watching it now, and with you and Jasmine Guy having such a long-standing relationship as friends as well, like you can see, like, you know, I think like one of the things I love about watching behind the scenes, or when you can see somebody break, or when you can see somebody's real life, oh, that's how they really would respond to it. Like, that's not just
yeah.
like, you can see that. I know you can see it. Like,
yeah. When Jasmine opened the door and she looked at me, I was like, oh shit, that looks like Jasmine is mad. It looked like that face looked like a mad Jasmine, a frustrated, not having this shit Jasmine face. It was great.
But you know, and one thing that I did realize too, you know what I'm saying, with the rewatch and just kind of even going back on episodes, they always bring up in the 90s, they always say who had the better kicks, Will Smith or Martin. They never bring up you. And I'm like, bro, you had some heat in A Different World.
I was first.
Yeah. And they always forget to bring you up.
I was first. I started it. I was first.
Yeah.
JJ didn't have on no Jordans. Yeah. Michael didn't have on no Jordans. None of them. Yeah. I was first. Nah, it's all good. It's all love. The real heads know. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
The real heads know. There was a beginning, and then there was the rest of it. Everybody followed and jumped on suit. I had the advantage of being the first one on television, but I was definitely the first one rocking them because I was the first one, and I was like, but I did it in school days too.
Yep.
But I did that in my life. So it was like, I was just bringing that to the character. I was like, one thing I am is all about the kicks. So when Spike put it together for School Days, I was like, oh, and this is part of my character that I'm brushing my sneakers with a toothbrush. Yeah. Perfect. I mean, that's me. So it easily translated to Dwayne, and you'll see, you know, you can go through my catalog, and you'll always see some sneakers and some Jordans and some something on. I'm, you know, representing always.
Yeah, definitely. So another thing about Blerd Culture that I think also makes things live on is that there's art, like the creatives of people who are just creating art, and obviously A Different World with the cultural impact. I always wondered, as somebody who you know, say who like, you're still active, how does it feel when you see artwork of you? Because that got to be a surreal moment to see artwork of people like creating things and just putting, like, that got to be really dope.
That's awesome. I seen a tattoo of my face on somebody's arm with the glasses and the whole nine, and I'm moved by it. You know what I mean? You know, that's what you dream of as a kid. You want to create art. You want to see it. You want to da. And for people to think that this image is worthy is crazy.
It's crazy. It's funny because, like, so when I do my announcements and everything, like, I announce who's going to be the next guest, who I'm going to talk to on my social media. You, like, bro, legit, women of all age, like, hey, give him my number. I'm like, I'm not about to slide. Kadeem Hardison your number, like, yo, Stacy from up the block saying holla at her. Like, but like, bro, they came out. And I was like, hey, you know what I'm saying?
That's a beautiful thing. The guy made an impact. He was a nice guy, and I always say he was the perfect man, created by women for women.
Yeah.
Debbie Allen, Susan Fales, Jasmine Guy, all of that influence on me created him. He said the right things at the right time. He was firm when he needed to be firm. Yep. He was understanding when he needed to be understanding. He was forgiving when So you know, that dude might not exist in the world completely like that, but it's a good goal to shoot for. It's a good template to start and be like, all right, whatever he's going to be, he better be like this, and he better have this, and better have that, and then we can work with that from there.
All right, well, let's get into some geek stuff, man, because I'm come to find out you're also, outside of being a Marvel MCU head, you're also a huge Star Wars and a sci-fi nerd, just in general. But I wanted to kind of address your Mount Rushmore, see if that's still your Mount Rushmore, because your special delivery show that you have is an unboxing show. I love
Right.
it, man. I love
Oh, that's awesome.
energy and how you like what you bring to it, the comedic aspect. That's one of the things. So like my guy Liv, who's also part of this podcast, we got an unboxing show called So Frito Poppy's Playhouse, and he does the unboxing as well. And it's funny because like you get to see the most of his personality in those unboxing videos. So when I was watching, I'm like, yo, I love every bit about this. The jokes that you come with. Was that your inception, or did the company come to you?
That's hilarious. Zendaya is my people's. So one night we over here watching TV, and she Snapchat. I don't know these terms. I'm not a kid anymore. She Snapchats my top shelf.
Yeah.
And there's all these sideshow pieces. And then she brings the camera to me. The CEO of Sideshow, his son follows her, saw that, and said, "Pop, we got to get this dude down here.
Yeah.
Look, he got all the joints. Da 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 da. He's a fan." Next thing you know, I get a call from my agent saying, "Hey, you want to go have a tour at Sideshow?" And I was like, "What? How the fuck? I just ordered something from Sideshow. How the hell they call me up for a tour?" Yeah. So I get down there and I'm walking through, and they had this Thor Breaker of Brimstone piece that I really was into, but I just didn't want to pay the full price for. And I was like, "Hey, how about if I do a unboxing video and I get to keep this store? Like, I'll do a video for you guys if I could keep this when I do it, after I do it." And they was like, "Yeah, let us think about that." And then they hit me back like, "How about you do, a couple of videos and, you keep the pieces that you like?" I was like, that's what I meant.
Right.
So yeah. It was kind of like, they wanted to get me in house to let me see the joint. And once I got in there and saw the joint, I was like, I want to work here. I want to figure out, I wish I could draw. I wish I had stayed in art, because I want to work here. This looks like the dopest place to come every day and make believe. So it was kind of a mutual thing. It was kind of my idea to do a video and to get a piece for it. And they were right in step, like, "Hey, yeah, well, let's do a bunch of videos, let's do a series of them." So it was kind of both of us kind of coming up with it together. But I was thrilled that was the deal, that I was going to get to go down there and talk about some crazy statues and make some jokes, and all that shit is off the top. Like, we don't get to prepare much. I know which pieces before I get there, or I'll send them a list like, "Yo, can we get this one, that one, and this one, and this one?" And sometimes we'll do 4 in a day. Sometimes we'll do 3 or 5 in a day, depending. And I try to keep changing t-shirts so it don't look like I'm in a uniform every time. But yeah, it's a whole lot of fun to go down there and do. And then the last one we had to do with COVID, I had to do it from my garage because we was, nobody was allowed to go nowhere. And that's one of my favorite ones, but that's been the last one. I was like, I hope they like that one, because we haven't done one since. I did go off to work in Ireland for like 5 months, but once I got back, I was like, "Yo, let's get on it. So we're trying to, hopefully we'll work out something and figure out a couple of more to do, because they got a lot of good stuff that's come out and that's coming out.
Yeah, no, you definitely got to come back, because when I found it, and when I found the channel, I was like, yo, again, that's what made me really say, I gotta chop it up with Kadeem, because I'm like, bro, he is in it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I love, again, it kind of goes back to what we talked about with voice acting and how you got on a different world. It's your drive. Mm-hmm. It's you saying, yo, I'm a fan of this. Let's do this. And then somebody saying, okay, let's build upon that. Like, that is really, really dope. And then on there, like I said, that's when you did drop your Mount Rushmore. So you said Spider-Man, Wolverine, Silver Surfer, and Batman. Has that changed at all?
I really like Thanos. Like, I didn't know much about Thanos before. Like, I hadn't read a whole bunch of comics. There was a time where I was reading a lot, and then I started working a lot. Then I dropped off reading, and then all of a sudden they started doing movies, and I was like, these movies are gonna suck. There's no way they could make Iron Man look like he's. They did it. Oh, these movies are gonna suck. There's no way they can put the Avengers together, because then you would have to have all these characters. They did it. So then I stopped reading. I hadn't reading. I've just been relying on
The
Feige and the crew to to give me my comic, book knowledge.
Yeah.
So seeing Thanos, I missed that whole saga, and I'm pissed off that I didn't get to read it. So I wasn't way ahead of everybody when it came out. But he's probably one of my favorite villains.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, I think it's pretty much changed. You could always throw Hulk in there because Hulk was always big when I was a kid.
Yep.
But yeah, the four is still the four.
Okay.
I always loved Batman.
Yeah.
And it wasn't from the comic books. It was like the TV show when I was, a little dude. That Batman on TV was the best thing ever for me. I was 6, 7 years old. And then Spider-Man had a cartoon right around then, and it was just the coolest of them. And then when I started reading comic books, it was Wolverine. It was all about Wolverine. And then at one point, my whole introduction to, and I lived on the brownstone, like 3rd floor, and I always looked down, at the street, at the, what was happening in the street, whether somebody was getting chased or whatever the hell, dogs running. And one day I went to the store and I got a Silver Surfer book, and for the first time I looked up. You know what I mean? Instead of looking down at the street, that night I looked in the sky and started imagining what could be going on up there, and it was all because of Silver Surfer, Stan Lee, and this character. So that Silver Surfer always has a special place for me, just because he expanded my imagination from not just Earth, but my block, like what I could see out the window to the galaxy.
Yeah, I tell people, here's where I think we're going to get one of the best Silver Surfer adaptations coming up. So Stan Lee's favorite character out of all his characters was always Silver Surfer. And so I feel like somebody is going to embark on that, saying, okay, if we're going to do this character, we have to do it right. And now that they got back the rights, and then, with everything they did in the Eternals, introducing the Celestials and everything like that, like, I believe that we're finally going to get a really, really dope Silver Surfer. And he's in my top as well. And I always love Silver Surfer. So I'm excited to see what comes from that as well.
Absolutely. I thought when they did him, even though the movie didn't hit, I thought Fish was fantastic as the voice.
God, he was
fantastic as the voice. He was exactly like I'd never even imagined the sound that he had. But when I heard Fish do it, I was like, whoa, it was perfect. It was the one of the better marriages of voice and character in the history of all of this stuff.
Yep. So I gotta ask you, we always do a top 5. You're a big MCU. So I'll give a caveat. It doesn't have to be in order. But what is your top 5 MCU movies?
Jesus, we were just talking about this. No order.
No order.
I'm just going off the top of the head. Infinity War is probably one of my all-time favorites. Winter Soldier has got to be top 2 or 3. Ragnarok is one.
I like that.
I really like that. I wasn't expecting much.
Me either. That's exactly. And I was going in not expecting much, and I was like, "Whoa!" Like, completely
and they
different.
They caught me with my mouth open. I was like, "Oh snap!" Civil War, because they brought Spider-Man and Black Panther to the universe. And then it's tough because I really have a good time with all the Guardians movies. Like those always seem to hit they hit the note right. But there's Black Panther, which just meant so much to the whole, to everything. And then it's hard because to me, Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man.
Hands down.
By far. You know what I mean? He's just so perfect. So I feel a little safe in leaving out any of the Spider-Man movies because I got Civil War, which was his introduction. And I feel a little safe about leaving out Black Panther, even though it meant everything, because I got his introduction with Civil War. So for the last one, boy, I know there's something I'm missing. I really, it might not have been the best, but it hit me in such a way because I was so skeptical. The Avengers, the first Avengers movie,
Yeah.
I really thought this is not gonna work. I mean, I didn't think Iron Man was gonna work, but I love Downey, so I figured we got Downey, and then it worked beyond.
Yeah.
And then when we're gonna add all these characters, I just thought this is not gonna. I just thought it wasn't gonna work.
Yeah.
And then they pulled it off. They sorry about that. They pulled it off. So yeah, I got Thanos because I got Infinity War.
But Avengers also was the first. That was the first time we saw Thanos. Remember at the end?
Yeah, absolutely at the very end.
And so it go to what you were just talking about in regards to that. After the first Avengers happened, I was all in on MCU. Like I said, I like Iron Man, I like Thor, I like Captain America. I'm like, okay, this is dope. But I'm like, I don't see how they're going to do this. And when they finally did it, I said, oh, I'm in it for the ride now. Like you got me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I give Avengers a place because it was the one that really was like, okay, well, I'm here for the next 10 or 15 or however long y'all want to do this because I didn't think this was possible. Yeah. And they did it.
All right. So that'll
do.
All right, the last segment before I get you out there, we always do a recommendation, but I want to give you a recommendation real quick. So you said that you wasn't able to read, and so I interviewed this guy, and his name is Comic Historian. Are you familiar with Comic Historian?
Yeah,
he has a YouTube channel, and I always recommend that to people who love comic books but who doesn't have the opportunity to read. He dramatically reads comic book series. And what I love about it is that it's a YouTube channel. He shows the panels, he takes out the words for copyright reasons, but he dramatically reads it. And he goes into, when I interviewed him, I said, you should look into voice acting because what he does is he'll do different voices for each character. And so that way, if you just put it on and he does it panel by panel, gives you the history and everything.
Oh, wow.
And I think it's such a dope channel because it's like, if you don't have that moment where you can sit down and read, you can throw it on in the background, and because of how he reads it, you still get the impact of so Comic Historian, his name, he is such a dope guy
on YouTube, right?
Yep, on YouTube. Comic Historian.
I'm looking it up right now, so
he has so many. Like you can look at his playlist. He has different runs. He does all DC, Marvel. He even jumped into the Power Ranger comics. Like he is really dope. I recommend it to any comic book head always because it's like if you don't have that time, throw something audio on, throw that on, and then boom, you
just got him a subscription right there. Bam.
Dope. I'll make sure I'll let him know about this. But recommendations. I always like to get it from my guests. Something that either you're reading, watching, something that you used to love, but something that you think that our listeners and our viewers should check out.
What am I reading? I haven't started it, but I'm going back to Silver Surfer Black. I think it's a little older. I never really followed Silver Surfer Black. I saw there was a Black Silver Surfer. I was like, wait, what? I missed all of this. So I'm going back. I'm checking that. Rodney Barnes, my dude, has a crazy series, I think called Philadelphia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's that I really want to get into. That's one that I've been saving. Like, and what else? I think I just ordered something. I feel like I just ordered something.
I just looked up.
Friday. Yeah, Philadelphia is ridiculous.
Yeah, that looks dope.
This. Ed Brubaker. Yeah, I don't know. I just like Ed Brubaker.
Oh yeah.
So whenever I see something of his, and this was a little thing here, and I just grabbed it, and I was like, all right, let's see what that is. So I think this is going to be good. All of this stuff I'm recommending, I haven't read. So it's just, but Philadelphia, I'd bet on it. Friday, I think will be pretty good. And whatever else when I said, I can't remember now, but
okay. All right. So I mean, anything? What are you working on, man? What can our people check that you got coming up?
I just finished a series called Moonhaven, a sci-fi series. So we was talking about sci-fi. Yeah, it's a crazy thing set hundreds of years in the future where we have colonized the moon and are using technology to sustain it and live and control the atmosphere. And it's pretty much a perfect version of Earth.
Oh, okay.
But it's just we just got a section of it, and we've eliminated crime and health problems and jealousy and everything that's wrong here now in a dystopian Earth, hundreds of years from now, is we got paradise here. And we want to build a bridge to share this technology, but it's about the culture. It's a way of living that we've adapted that allows us to live and maintain this, that Earth has to be ready for. So we want to build a bridge and then come back and teach the Earthers how to live and change their culture so that they could kind of have the technology. And yeah, it's crazy. It's really it's kind of dope. There's nothing like it. I read it and I was like, I have to be a part of this.
Nice.
And then I got lucky enough to be a part of it. So I'm excited for people to see it. Don't know when it's coming out. I'm guessing spring or fall.
Okay.
Spring or summer. Spring or summer. I think it'll be a spring or a summer show on AMC Plus called Moonhaven.
You know what? AMC, because of how they do graphic novels and how they bring it to life, they're another channel that, like, if they got a show, they got my trust. I'm gonna check it out.
Absolutely, exactly. When I read the script and then I knew it was AMC, I was like, oh, this is a hit. They don't do no bullshit. Yeah. We're gonna be all right with them. So hopefully they get us back to work and we can start working on season 2 because I had a ball in Ireland for 5 months last year doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Ireland is beautiful, man. With all the movies that they put out there, I just know that, like, that's one of those places that you can just step outside and just look and go, man.
It's got to be the best place I think I've ever been. I've been in a lot of locations and a lot of countries and cities, and Ireland is by far my favorite.
Nice. So where can my people find you at?
Yeah. Instagram, Kadeem Hardison. Twitter, Kadeem Hardison. Facebook, I'm not. Nah. But yeah, I'm me on Instagram. I'm me on Twitter. I don't do Twitter as much. Usually when somebody wants something or asks me something specific, I'll do it. Instagram, I usually mess with, every other day or so. Yep. And other than that, you catch me playing video games and chilling in the crib.
What games you playing right now?
I'm a Destiny head. But Sifu just came out, yo. If you got a PlayStation,
of course,
Sifu is the business.
All right, I'm gonna check that one out. I know Destiny. Yeah. My brother, he's a big Destiny head, so he always push it on our podcast.
Yeah, I'm a Destiny head. I'm a Destiny lifer. 7.5 years in now.
Yeah, I think my brother's that long too. Like, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
This has been Deuces. This has been the amazing, the legend himself, Kadeem Hardison. This is 1-on-1 with Deuces, and we are out.
Flawless victory.